Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome back to this Friday's episode of Sports Corner. I'm Cole Young, and for the second year in a row and third time in the last 5 years, the Kansas City Chiefs are Super Bowl champions. They are just the first team in 19 years to win back-to-back titles since the Patriots in 2004 and 2005. The first half of the Super Bowl was full of mistakes, fumbles, penalties, and little to no scoring. The 49ers' opening drive was solid, and Christian McCaffrey was running the ball well until the Chiefs forced McCaffrey to fumble, and then the Chiefs recovered inside their own 30-yard line. The Chiefs punted on 2 straight drives, and the 49ers were forced to punt on their second drive as well. The 0-0 tie was finally broken when Jake Moody perfectly hit a 55-yard field goal in the second quarter, which marked the longest made field goal in Super Bowl history. That record only lasted for about an hour, though, but more on that later. It was the Chiefs' turn to fumble the ball in plus territory, and the 49ers would recover. After another punt by each team, with 4 minutes and 23 seconds left in the first half, a touchdown was finally scored. In the Chiefs' red zone, quarterback Brock Purdy took the shotgun snap and quickly dished out a backwards screen pass to receiver Juwan Jennings. Jennings waited, gathered himself, and threw a high, wobbly, and dangerous pass all the way back across the field to Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey had blockers and managed to find his way to the end zone for a 21-yard score. Following a Chiefs field goal on the next drive, San Francisco was sitting with a 10-3 lead as the game went into halftime. Mahomes and the Chiefs would start the second half on offense, but just 3 plays into the third quarter, Mahomes would take a deep shot that would wind up being intercepted by the San Francisco defense. Remember earlier I said that 49ers kicker Jake Moody set a Super Bowl record for longest field goal made? Well, Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker quickly took that title when he drilled a 57-yarder with 5 minutes left in the third to bring the score to 10-6. This is where the excitement finally began to ramp up. After yet another 3-and-out drive by the Chiefs, the punt team came on. Tommy Townsend's punt soared back to the San Francisco 19-yard line, where it hit a 49ers player and became a live ball and a fumble. That fumble was recovered by Kansas City on the 16-yard line going into the end zone. It took just 1 play for Patrick Mahomes to find a wide-open Marquez Valdez-Scantling for a 16-yard score and the Chiefs' first lead of the game. With 2 minutes and 28 seconds remaining in the third quarter, the 49ers drove down the field on a 12-play, 75-yard drive that ended with a Brock Purdy to Juwan Jennings' 10-yard touchdown. Jennings joined Eagles quarterback Nick Foles 6 years ago as the only players to throw and catch a touchdown in a Super Bowl. After swapping field goals for the remainder of regulation, the score sat at 19-19 when the final buzzer hit 0, and that meant the game was headed to overtime. The 49ers went on another long, methodical drive to start overtime, eating up just about 8 minutes off the clock. They couldn't manage to find the end zone, however, and had to settle for 3 points. With the score at 22-19, it was time for Patrick Mahomes to take the field and finish another legacy drive. Mahomes did exactly what he does best, taking the Chiefs' offense 75 yards downfield, including a crucial 8-yard run on 4th down to keep their Lombardi Trophy hopes alive. To end the drive, Mahomes threw a 3-yard touchdown pass to Mecole Hardman in overtime, and the Chiefs rallied to beat the San Francisco 49ers 25-22, becoming the NFL's 9th repeat Super Bowl champs. The Chiefs are already setting their sights on becoming the first franchise in NFL history to win 3 straight Super Bowls. Mahomes would finish the day being crowned with his 3rd Super Bowl MVP after throwing for 333 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as leading the team in rushing with 66 yards on the ground. Travis Kelce yet again came up in the big crucial moments of the game, finishing the day with 9 catches for 93 yards. On the San Francisco side, Purdy finished the day with a solid game with 255 yards and 1 touchdown, while McCaffrey was yet again a workhorse, putting up 160 all-purpose yards and 1 touchdown. I've said it all year long, so I'll get ahead of the curve and say it now for next season. As long as Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, never ever count them out from being the Super Bowl champions. Sticking with the NFL, there have been a few other storylines from around the league the past few weeks. On Thursday, January 13th, Lamar Jackson won the 2023 NFL MVP award, the second time he's captured the league's top honor in his 6 seasons. At just 27 years old, he became the youngest quarterback to win the NFL MVP award twice. Jackson is just the 11th player to win multiple NFL MVP awards. Only 6 players, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Brett Favre, Jim Brown, and Johnny Unitas have more MVP awards, meaning he joined some pretty elite company. Jackson completed 67% of his passes for 3,678 yards and 24 touchdowns with 7 interceptions this season. He also had 821 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns, leading the league with 5.5 yards per carry. Jackson finished with 3,000 plus passing yards and 800 plus rushing yards for the second time in his career, the only player in NFL history to reach those numbers in a season 2 times. Jackson improved to 58-19 as a starting quarterback this season, and his .753 win percentage is 3rd best for a quarterback in NFL history. Only Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady have a higher win percentage. As we all remember, Jackson carried the Ravens to the AFC Championship this season, where they fell just short to the Chiefs. For the other awards, Christian McCaffrey was named Offensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett finally got his first ever Defensive Player of the Year award, and C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson of the Texans won Offensive and Defensive Rookies of the Year, respectively. Kevin Stefanski won Coach of the Year after his impressive season with the Cleveland Browns, and the other person responsible for that impressive season, quarterback Joe Flacco, was named the Comeback Player of the Year. A few weeks ago, I mentioned all the movement of head coaches in the NFL so far. A couple more have been hired, like the Falcons replacing Arthur Smith with Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris. The Raiders did decide to stick with their interim head coach Antonio Pierce, officially removing the interim from his title. The Seahawks are replacing the oldest coach in the league, Pete Carroll, with the new youngest coach in the league, Mike McDonald. No, not Mike McDaniel of the Dolphins. That confused me too at first. McDonald was the defensive coordinator in Baltimore and led them to having the top-ranked defense this season. The Washington Commanders hired one of their rivals, defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, from the Dallas Cowboys. They also brought Cliff Kingsbury on as an offensive coordinator, which many suspect is a move to ensure they can get Caleb Williams from USC in the draft. Speaking of big names in new places, the Formula One world was turned upside down when 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton announced he would be leaving Team Mercedes after nearly 20 years and 103 Grand Prix wins to join Ferrari. Hamilton is the most successful driver in Formula One history, with more Grand Prix wins and pole positions than any other driver, and 7 World Drivers' Championships, which is tied with Michael Schumacher. To put it in perspective, the best way to describe this move is to compare it to when Tom Brady left the Patriots to play for the Buccaneers, or when LeBron left Cleveland for Miami the first time. Meanwhile, in the NHL, our local teams are somewhat okay. The LA Kings are hanging around the middle of the pack with a 24-16-10 record. Those 10 overtime losses are tied for the second most in the league. Adrian Kempe, Kevin Fiala, and Anze Kopitar are leading the team in points, while goaltender Cam Talbot has just a 14-13 record. They're still 4th in their division and still have a shot at the playoffs. On the other hand, the Anaheim Ducks are right back where they always are. They're sitting at 18-32-2 and are 3rd from the bottom in the overall league standings. A major injury to young star Trevor Zegras has inhibited the team, but overall poor performances have yet again put them at the bottom of the league. The Canucks, Bruins, Rangers, Panthers, Stars, and Avalanche have all been dominant this season and are all sitting at the top of the league at the moment. Thanks for tuning in to this Friday's episode of Sports Corner. I hope you enjoyed the last week of football for a while. I know I did. Come right back next week for more news, updates, and highlights from all around the sports world. I'm Cole Young. Have a great President's Day weekend, and I'll see you next time.